Morning, folks. This is a Wednesday morning for me, and today's soap for me usually on Wednesdays at my place of employment we have meetings on Wednesday, and meetings seems like a meeting day. So anyhow, I thought it might be fitting. I had a couple of choices and went with Yulay, and this one here is Cognac and Cubans. That's what it looks like on the inside. You can already tell I've been scooping out of it quite a bit. I've used it a few times. Thought that might be fitting for today with meetings and all. There's the aftershave. Of course, I've got the Humphreys Witch Hazel, alum block complete with rubber band, and it is getting smaller. This has been my only alum block it's in the container. It's getting smaller and smaller. Today the brush I'm going to be using is it's a horsehair brush, bristle. I got it off eBay. It's one of those inexpensive ones, right around the $7 mark. And from there they said that the bristle is from the tail. And if you look at, say, like I think it's pronounced violon, they would usually tell you if it's 40% mane, 60% tail. In other words, they tell you where all the hair is coming from. And this one here tells you it's coming straight from the tail. Now, for me, one of the reasons why I bought this is because it was inexpensive. I thought I'd give it a try. I did do some breaking in prior to actually start using it, and I will say it does shed a few bristles, just a few. But even though it might shed, it doesn't really take all that long for it to start whipping up the lather. So it hasn't been used very many times, so it's really not broken in just yet. But I would have to say, outside of it shedding, and it's shedding a few right now, it's not too bad of a brush if you can get past that point. I don't feel like it's that pokey or scritchy, but that's me. I don't know. I like boar brushes. I don't find them to be that pokey or scritchy, so maybe you could use that as a guide on my what I consider scritchy. I haven't found anything that bothered me to the point where I didn't want to use it. Don't really notice it. And this one here, I don't really notice any of the scritchiness or anything like that. So as you can tell, it doesn't take too terribly long to get it all whipped up. I've already put a hot towel to the face, taken the bloom water, use it as a pre-shave, put it on my face till I just now whipped up the lather. This brush, the handle is plastic. I'm pretty sure it's plastic as opposed to acrylic. But considering that it's a $7 brush, I think it looks pretty decent. And I've got tons of lather in the bowl besides what's in the brush. And the shaver of the day is going to be a Irving Barber Company shavette, and the version I have is chrome. Smells good. I like this scent. The other one I was trying to decide was tobacco and bourbon. Kind of see the theme there. I have a feather super blade in there. This particular shavette will take more than just feather blades. It'll take your half DE blades. I just prefer to use the feather blades in there. And you can kind of see there the way this is designed. If you go to the website, you can buy all the parts that you need to actually make one of these if you want to make it by part fitting. Thought that was kind of a cool feature about this. And of course, you know, about the time, if you ever notice that your hands are wet, that's when your nose starts to itch, or your eyes. For me, it's my eyes today. Go ahead and get started with the first pass. This will be the third use on this blade. I have found that supers work best for me. I don't. I have some professionals, the pros. For me, they're just not as smooth as the super, and I understand that for a lot of people, supers are don't give them a smooth shave. For me, it works just fine. I think it has a lot to do with the my beard. In other words, the hair is not exactly it's coarse, and I think the supers work well with that kind of beard. I know when I first started, I thought the blade was what I would refer to as a little edgy. But I think that was, I was still learning how to use the razor. Because now I think I get some of the smoothest shaves with the super. I have stretched these blades out to 10 shaves. Anymore, I just keep it at 5. You might say at 5, I'm still getting smooth shaves, and with my rotation, the way that I'm doing them, after my 5th shave, I'm moving to a single edge, and then a double edge, and then back to a shavette again. So usually a different shavette. If I wasn't doing videos or anything of the sort, you know, I might go ahead and try to stretch it on out to 6 and 7 to see where I get my consistent shaves at. I know I get 5 pretty easy. For me, I have some folds. I guess you might say old. My skin's a little loose. And I have found that if you approach those folds, I mean, I do stretch, but even stretching sometimes doesn't seem quite enough if you're not careful. So I approach those at an angle. In other words, not at a 90-degree angle, more like at a 45, and you have a less chance of catching yourself on those folds. In other words, it's worked well for me by doing it like that. Also, if this is the first time you see me over here on the side, I have a warm mug of water that I use for, I put the shavette in, as well as my brush when I'm soaking it, and I put them in there together. I prefer a warm blade. It just seems to work better for me to have a warm blade. And if you're thinking about starting out with a shavette here pretty soon, take your time, go easy. There's no hurry. If I remember correctly, it was on sharpologist.com. The suggestion was when you start out with a straight razor for shavette, that of course it was mentioned about going slow, meaning just a cheek, and you do the cheek for about a week, and then the second week then you go to the other cheek, and in other words just start moving slowly into your learning curve with a shavette or a straight razor. And one of the upsides of a shavette is that you don't have to have a blade in it to practice if you wanted to, before you even actually put a blade in it. And you could, if you wanted to, go to the expense on a straight razor to get one that has not been sharpened, a blunt one. And you could practice with one of those if you're looking at doing a straight razor. Smells great. Typically for me, on a with a shavette, I'm just doing a 2-pass shave, maybe a 2.5 if you want to call going across the grain with the cheek. Even at that, if that's all the further you go in your experience with a straight razor or shavette, you can always do your touch-ups with your DE razor or single edge or whatever it is that happens to be your favorite. I know for me, I can usually get by with, on most days, a 2-pass shave. It'll be trial and error. You'll have to figure out what works best for you when it comes to stretching. I don't feel like I stretch quite as much as others do. You do what works best for you. I guess you might say if that's one of, maybe a rule number 2. The way I look at it, rule number 1 is get a smooth, comfortable shave. I don't expect for it to be baby smooth. I don't. If I get one, I get one. If I don't, I don't. Smooth and comfortable is most important. And then, of course, what works for you. I will say with a shavette or a straight razor, to me, of course the whole entire part of the shave is important, but to me one of the first things that'll sabotage your shave is your pre-shave routine. If it's not up to snuff, good chance with one of these your shave is not going to go all that well. Not as smooth and comfortable as it could go. It's just for me the bloom water, using it as a pre-shave. If you prefer, you can use shave oil. So it's what works for you. Because to me that's the hot towel and the bloom water is what's really important. And also, in my opinion, you'll find out what soaps are You might say better for a shavette or a straight razor. I can usually tell by the bloom water which one's going to give me the slickness that I need. Slickness is going to be really important with a shavette or a straight razor. You can get by with some of these other soaps that are maybe not quite as my phone, maybe not quite as slick with a DE or even just a single edge, but it'll cause you a problem with a shavette or a straight razor. You got to have slickness. It will not be a fun shave if it's not slick enough. Trust me. I know by experience. It doesn't work very well. Usually, for me, it just seems like I end up with a certain amount of irritation. I can usually feel around when I re-wet the face or when I'm rinsing in the soap off. I can usually tell how close of a shave I got, and with the way my hair grows, every once in a while I may need to take a DE razor or a single edge and touch up, if you will. In other words, there's certain passes I won't try. I'm just not to that point where I can take the shavette or even a straight razor and get all the little areas, because the way the hair grows, I'm not quite there, and to be honest with you, I don't expect that I ever will be. I'm to the point where I'm comfortable where I'm at. With the grain against the green, I go across the grain on the cheeks, and that's about all I do with a shavette or even a straight razor when I do use one, which is not too terribly often. I just kind of dabble in it for the experience. I enjoy it. I think it's fun getting that experience from gentlemen from days gone by when that was the only thing that was available to them. Always wondered how they did it. How did they ever get a smooth, comfortable shave with one of those things? It was that kind of thing. I wanted the experience. And I think it's fun. It's a challenge. Just a little bit of stinging right there. Monday when I shaved, started with the IBC, I had counted up, it had been about 9 days since I had shaved with a shavette, and it's the first time, and I couldn't tell you in how long, I ended up with a nick right about here with the toe of the the shavette of the blade. I hadn't had one of those, and I couldn't tell you how long. Kind of, you know, got a little rusty, I guess you might say, after being off, if you will, for 9 days shaving with a different razor. Good part of those is those shaves were with a R41. Hey, that is you learn how to do the gentle pressure with an R41, you're going to get some really nice shaves. I guess you might say almost effortless to get a really smooth shave. Oh, by the way, witch hazel. And the one that I was using was it was the rose gold handle version. Really nice. That is a beautiful razor. Some people don't particularly care for the ones you got to shake up. This is a non-alcohol version. It's got witch hazel in it, along with all the neat stuff that you need for moisturizing your face after a shave. So to a degree, I'm kind of double dipping with the witch hazel. Smells great. And that's what the restrictor looks like. It's not, in my opinion, not too big, not too small. I have seen some restrictors that are pretty small. I'd consider it tiny. It'd take a little bit of work to get some out. And if that's your preference, you know, I understand. If you're not wanting a whole bunch come out at one time. For me, I don't mind. I'll use all of it. I don't always, quote-unquote, match or pair up my aftershaves and soaps when I use them. If I do buy them in a pair, I usually use them as, you know, together. But if I don't, it's whatever I'm in the mood for. Because typically by the time I'm done with the shave, I don't smell the soap anymore on my face. So I don't feel like the scent of the soap is going to be in conflict with the aftershave. And it's what mood I'm in. I might be in the mood to shave with a particular soap, but I want this particular aftershave. Just me. Kind of goes back to the no rules thing. Just two, if you want to call them rules. More like guidance. And anyway, Yulay Cognac and Cubans. Once again, you look in there. It's a fairly hard soap. I have got plenty in my bowl. That is still a lot of lather. And like I say, you normally I already have this whipped up. It didn't take that long to whip it up, even with a brush like this that $7 horsehair. And like I say, I don't really notice it being pokey, scritchy, and it's been used 2 or 3 times, but I lathered up several times before I started using it. I like horsehair. What can I say? And once again, the shavette of the day, Irving Barber Company, IBC. Like I say, you can get all of these fittings, parts. I guess you might say it's all customer serviceable. And it is starting to get a little bit loose. Not real bad. I mean, the scale still stays out there and it's all metal. I'll tighten it up a little bit. Had a great shave today. Hope everybody's doing well. Till next time, stay safe and smooth shaves to you.